stream. Welcome back to Simply Forex. Lovely to see you all again. It's been a little while as I wasn't here last week. I was on holiday. I was sunning myself in Thailand. It was very nice. I will tell you more later. But guys, we are here today to look at some live trades that I am currently in, plus some other trades setting up. We're going to take a look at the reaction to Trump's tariffs and what that means for the indices. And we're going to take all of your questions, guys. All right. So don't be shy. Come and ask as many questions as you like about trading, and we will try and answer as many as we can. So there you go, guys. That is the plan. As I said, guys, I was away last week, so apologies there was no live stream. I went to Thailand and all I did was eat curries and drink Chang beer and go bright red through sunburn. But yeah, usual English holiday, right? But yeah, it was beautiful, really nice. Love it. We went to Krabi in Thailand. It was very nice indeed. I recommend anyone going. Probably my favorite place that I've been in Thailand. Anyway, you're not here to talk about Thailand and its tourism. You're here to talk trading. So let's start, guys, by looking at the indices, right? Because the indices have been dropping like stones, and everyone keeps asking me the same question, right? So let's get rid of these old targets, right? Everyone keeps. Let's go on the weekly, actually, guys, so we can get a better view. So everyone keeps asking me, Tom, is there room, to move lower on the indices? And the answer is, of course there is, right? But nobody has a crystal ball, but it's all, obviously fundamental driven, and it's all just Trump tariffs, right? And that's all it is to do with, right? So if Trump's tariffs, like China, counteracted America's tariffs aggressively, and then America retaliate, China retaliate, that just creates more uncertainty in the markets, and these indices will go lower on the back of that. We still have to see how the Eurozone retaliates to Trump's tariffs, how the UK replies to Trump's tariffs, how Japan, right? So there's so much unknown and uncertainty in the markets, which generally speaking will lead to more downward movement on the indices. I mean, this is the S&P, but we could be talking about the NASDAQ, right? We could be talking about anything. Let's take a quick look at the NASDAQ. Obviously, this is tearing down as well. So the only way I see the indices start coming up is if some of these trade deals are struck, right? So America puts on some tariffs, China puts on some tariffs, and both parties are happy. Right, then you will start seeing markets settle. But what you're seeing at the moment is just an aggressive retaliation to Trump's tariffs. And who can blame it? Who can blame the other powerful economies? Right? It's just creating, a bit of a bloodbath for the markets, right? In general. So it's all to do with the tariffs, whether this continues to drop. Now, from a technical point of view, right? There is a level through here that I wanted to show you, because if you look at the monthly chart, right, realistically, the last monthly zone, if you like, is here. Let's draw that again, right, is through here, right? These are some substantial monthly lows here, and really this was the last high to trade from. Okay, so this is an interesting level technically, but, I wouldn't normally say this, but technicals are a bit blown out of the water at the moment when it comes to the indices. All right. So, yes, and this is another reason, guys, why I don't trade fundamentals, because everyone, right, nobody knows the answer. Right, so Nigel Gordon, good morning. He's asking about the NASDAQ. And the answer is nobody knows, right? Can the NASDAQ continue to go lower? Yes. Can it pop up from here? Yes. But technically, it's a sell trade, right? But the problem with fundamentals is you're just guessing. You don't know how these tariffs are going to unwind and unravel, right? So if you start trading indices right now, you are purely guessing on the outcome of tariffs, right? I would say you're gambling. There's no supporting factors to trade it, right? You're just seeing tariffs sell the indices, but these tariffs could be quickly resolved. Both parties start, getting on board with each other and they make a deal, and then all this goes away. So it's really the unknown, guys. I'm staying away from the indices for that reason, right? But obviously this has presented some other opportunities, right? The flight to safeties, yen, Swiss franc, these have been strong. But again, guys, just, don't get caught up in all of this, this noise. As soon as Trump opens his mouth, everyone's like, oh, quick, let's react. But don't, right? Just trade what you see, trade your setup, and try and blank all the noise out. This, to be fair, this is unprecedented noise, right? This is, you haven't seen an economic shakeup like this for decades, until 2008, really, right? So, yeah, let's see how it unravels. But Trump, we knew it wouldn't be boring with old Trumpy boy, and it certainly hasn't been, right? But, right, let's, like I say, guys, don't be afraid to say hello in the live chat. I've missed you all. We haven't done a live stream for a while. Come say hello, leave a question. We'll be good to answer them. But let's take a look at a trade that I am in, right? I am in Euro Canadian dollar sells. Okay, and so far so good, right? If we look at the day chart, yeah, we held on to this level, which is the important thing for me, right? So we was in this uptrend, right? Now I would say we're in a downtrend, and now we're seeing this kind of action. So we're definitely seeing lower highs, right? That's a fact. We were seeing lower lows, but are we also now seeing higher lows? Okay, so this is what we're seeing, right? But this level keeps holding, and just look at those wicks, right? Those are selling wicks, right? Just blatantly clear for everyone to see, right? Those are selling wicks. And all I'm trying to do, guys, is potentially come down, potentially all the way back down to these lows in here, right? That could be a higher time frame target, right? We're below the moving average 20, only just, but we're kind of bouncing off the moving average 20, right? So daily was telling me I could sell Euro Canadian dollar. And then if we look at the H4, to be quite honest with you, right, this has been bloody disgusting price action. This is more disgusting than my friend Dave's picking his nose habit, right? This is real disgusting. Okay, but the H4 is starting to make a bit of sense now. So let's go back in time. Between here and here, H4 is ranging, right? It's just ranging between here and here. And it's just difficult price action, very choppy, right? But if I go into real time now, I am starting to see lower highs, right? So are we starting to see the start of a downtrend with room potentially, like I say, down to this 5,450 level, even a bit further down to these lows, right? And time will tell. But I answered, bear with me, been in Thailand for a while. But I entered because of this H4 candle, right? Very bearish, formed a new lower high, right? I appreciate we're at a support level here, right? But it's very bearish, okay? And if we start to see a break of these lows as well, right, then happy days. We're off to the races. If we don't start seeing a break of these lows, right, then I may get out of this trade early, right? If this starts to hold and we see, if we go down to the H1 and we start to see real bullish candles, right, then I may get out of this trade early. But as it stands, right, all of these candles are pretty bearish as well, right, on the H1. So yeah, Euro Canadian dollar sells. Those are the reasons I'm in the trade. And yeah, we will see how that plays out. And also, guys, I did take a US dollar yen buy trade, right? Now, you're probably thinking, Tom, you know, why did you take this trade? Because we know flight to safeties are strong, but I traded what I saw. Okay. Now, if we look at US dollar yen and we look at this candle, right, that is a super duper bullish candle. Now, I know we are in a downtrend, right? We are. But all I was looking to do was take price back up to these daily highs, right? If you think about it, like we still have a bit of room up to this level, right? And then when we go down to the H4, right, I saw these bullish candle in here, right? And I started to buy and take price back up to here, if not up to here. But I was actually stopped out of this trade earlier on. Now, I appreciate fundamentally this, from a fundamental perspective, wasn't a good trade, but from a technical point of view, right, it made sense as well, right? We're in a H4 uptrend as well. We're getting higher highs, these lows held. I still think potentially this could be a good buy trade if we get a bullish reaction in here somewhere, back up to here. Right, but we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. And as always, guys, if you want to see all of my trades, then they are all in here, right? So this is my US dollar yen trade right here, yeah. And this is my Euro Canadian dollar sell trade. Okay, so if you want to get all of my trade ideas every single day, then please come join our VIP Discord, guys. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and smash the like button. Right, and that's where I am so far. But let's take a look at a few questions. Where are we? Okay. So, Colin, let's go. Colin, how are you, mate? How's Bali? Thoughts on the falling knife with Aussie dollar, US dollar, and New Zealand dollar, US dollar? I still think it has room on the downside with China being disgruntled with tariffs. So, yes, from a fundamental point of view, Aussie dollar is in trouble, right? Because China and Aussie dollar. China and Australia have very tight trading relations, right? And if China is struggling, then generally speaking, the Aussie dollar struggles, right? Because if their biggest trading partner is not as vibrant as it normally is, then obviously that'll have an impact on Australia, right? So let's look at it from a technical point of view. And let's have a look at Aussie dollar, US dollar. And let's have a look at the weekly chart. Looking at the weekly chart, yes, right? So I had to zoom out to find this level, right? So this 0.5800 level, I would say is an important level, okay? Now, if you look at the weekly chart, we are clearly, right, real scruffy price action, then bang, right? We are clearly in a downtrend, right? We're getting lower. I mean, where's the last high? Lower highs, lower lows. Clearly in a downtrend. Big bearish weekly candle, right? This would suggest we have more room to the downside, right? If we look at the day chart now, again, I mean, this is nothing but a sell trade, but the problem you have with Aussie dollar, US dollar sells is the value. Right? Do you want to start selling in here, put your stops up here, right? It just doesn't make sense. So I think Aussie dollar, US dollar, judging by, and not I think, I'm seeing, right, in terms of facts on a chart, I'm seeing potential to the downside, right, with Aussie dollar, US dollar. The only thing is I don't want to sell it from here, right? You know, I would even consider these lows through here. So if price retraces somewhere in here, we get the moving average 20 come round, and then we see a nice big bearish candle. I would be all over Aussie dollar, US dollar sells, right? Literally all over it, right? Similar, if I took Gal Gadot on a date, right? I would be all over her. Sorry. But yeah, I would be selling Aussie dollar, US dollar if we get that set up, right? So yes, in answer to that. Now let's see what the lower time frames are looking like. So, you know, it's struggling to beat these lows, right? These lows seem to be holding, and you're getting a lot of buying pressure from that level. Okay. Now, you know, if price potentially came back up to here as well, this would be a nice level, right? We've got the H4 coming down. If I saw a nice bearish reaction on the H4 at this level, I would also consider selling Aussie dollar, US dollar back down to these lows and then leave some profit to run. All right. So yes, I think you are correct, Colin. I think there's more room to the downside. Let's have a quick look at New Zealand dollar, US dollar as well. Weekly chart. See, the weekly chart's different, right? So Aussie dollar, US dollar, yes, I do think that. But New Zealand US dollar, no, I don't, right? You can see here that this was a key weekly support level, and it continues to be, right? So no matter how bearish this weekly candle is, I don't want to sell into this level. Right? If it breaks this level with a big bearish candle, that's different, right? Room to the downside. But this is looking like it could hold, right? If we go down to the day chart, again, clearly a sell trade, right? Yeah, there's no two ways about it, right? We're in a downtrend. This area through here looks like a nice level for selling, right? We get a retrace, moving average 20 comes down. You know, we can start selling here. But again, this is a key weekly support level. So for that reason, I would prefer selling Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar to, sorry, I would prefer selling Aussie dollar, US dollar to New Zealand dollar, US dollar, right? Because Aussie dollar, US dollar didn't have this weekly support level. So there you go. And then let's take a look at Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar. This will be interesting, right? So we are at a key, a weekly level here, right? So if you remember what I've just said, I would be willing to sell Aussie dollar, US dollar, but not New Zealand dollar, US dollar. That would suggest New Zealand dollar, Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar will still come down. Right, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But again, this is looking like a sell trade, but there's no value in it. There's no value in selling down here. Retrace into here, yeah, okay, good sell trade. So there you go, Colin. Hope that answers your question. Right, what else have we got? Guys, yeah, please don't forget to come say hello, leave a question. I will be happy to answer as many as I can. Niraj wants to look at New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Let's do just that. Right, let me have a quick drink, guys. Let me have some neat vodka. While I do, if everyone could please subscribe and smash the like button. Right, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. Okay, we're on the weekly chart. Let's start here. Now, I can even drag this level to the left, right? There is historic support at this level, right? On New Zealand, Japanese yen. Okay, so it's important to point that out. Now, you don't need to be Warren Buffett to see this is in a downtrend, right? Clearly in a downtrend. You know, we know why yen is strong, right? It's a flight to safety, and you can see that in the chart, right? We're in a downtrend and we've got a big bearish candle. Now, it doesn't matter how bearish this candle is, I still don't want to sell into support. I just don't, right? So although it's a sell trade, there's no sell here because we're selling into support. Don't sell into support. Don't buy into resistance, right? That is what crazy mental people do, right? But let's carry on and analyze, and let's have a look at the day chart. Now, the day chart, you are between a rock and a hard place, right? Let's imagine this gray zone didn't exist and there was no support here, right? I would be selling this, right? We've retraced, we come all the way back up to these lows, right? What was once support becomes good resistance. Now, like I say, if there was no support here, this would be a very good sell trade back down to these lows. And it still might be, right? It still might be, but I don't want to trade into weekly support, right? But if you said, Tom, you have to trade it, otherwise we will, kneecap you, then I would sell it, right? We're in a downtrend, fundamentally yen's a flight to safety, right? We've got a nice big wick rejection off of this level. I would sell it back down to 81. But I don't have to trade it, right? And this is a weekly support level. All right, but let's see what the H4 is doing as well, because H4 is typically our entry time frame. And straight away I can see something interesting on the H1, and it's this. Right, you can see price respecting this channel. So we have had a break of this channel. If you go back to the H4 now, you can see that, right? It's been just bouncing off this channel all the way up. Now, we are in a H4 downtrend as well, really. I mean, this is kind of where we're at. It's tricky price action. But if we get a nice bearish candle, H4 candle that breaks that trend line, I think this could be a good sell trade, right? Stops above here, all right? But we shall see. It might want to bounce off. It might want to come up and test these highs again, right? And then we get a big bearish candle, okay? And that could be a good selling opportunity. But like I say, guys, we know this is a daily resistance level. We know this is a weekly support level. What will probably happen is you'll get weekly buyers, daily sellers, weekly buyers, daily sellers, weekly buyers, and you might find ourselves in a bit of a range here, especially if the indices start bobbing about as well. If the indices keep dropping, then yen will be strong. But if the indices find a bit of a bottom and just starts bobbing along, then this is pretty much what will happen here as well, right? So no trade on New Zealand yen, but if I had to, I would sell that. So I hope that helps, Niraj. Right, guys, well, it's Carlos. Carlos, how are we? Are we in Finland? Is Finland Norway? Finland. Yeah, one of those. Sweden, one of them. You're in Scandinavia, that's for sure. How are you, Carlos? Hello, Tom. What is going on with the Reds? Are we going to win the Premier League? I hear you, Carlos. Liverpool lost to Fulham at the weekend, which makes me and the editor very unhappy. But, we're so many points clear. Even if we fall over the line, we are still going to win the Premier League. Touch some wood. Lewis scored a goal as well. So good on him. Right, guys, don't be shy. Ask as many questions as you like about trading. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button and smash the like button. If you haven't already, please come join our trading community, right? You can talk to like-minded traders, share knowledge, ideas, have a chit chat. So come join our free Discord channel. Also, if you would like to benefit from our premium trading education, we've got the Simply Forex Complete Trading course, we've got the VIP Discord, which I showed you earlier, and we have the mentorship program where I coach you one-on-one. If you're interested in any of those things, please go check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. And finally, guys, today's live stream is brought to you by Pepperstone. And right now, if you switch brokers with Pepperstone above my head, not only will they give you a free Essential TradingView subscription, we will also give you access to the VIP Discord, right? So guys, it's a no-brainer, right? Pepperstone is a world-class broker and compatible with TradingView as well. So check out that promotion right now. All the links are below the vid. Check it out now. I've got to have another drink. My throat is quite hoarse. Can you describe your throat as hoarse or my voice is hoarse? Anyway, you know what I mean. Right, Nigel Gordon. Gold, please, Tom. Nigel, certainly. Now, this is a real interesting one for me, right? Now, again, right, what we're seeing in the markets at the moment is a huge fundamental macroeconomic geopolitical driven markets, right? They always are, right? And gold, from a fundamental point of view, is a buy trade, right? For so many reasons, right? That you've seen the state of the economy, right? It's an absolute turmoil. Gold is a flight to safety. The Fed spoke about decreasing interest rates on the US dollar throughout the year. That will make gold strong. It's pinned against the US dollar, right? Central banks are buying up, and China buying up gold bullion, right? War in the Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, right? Lots and lots of reasons to like gold fundamentally, right? But technically, I think gold is a sell trade, right? So it's a tricky one for that reason, right? Because if I show you this, guys, right, I'm going to make a case for selling gold. Now, this didn't quite hit this high, right? Just wanted to point that out. But regardless, let's look at this, right? We are in a weekly uptrend. We were very, very, very overextended up here. And we have had a sell-off. That represents a big sell-off. Now, will this sell-off push price lower, right? It already has pushed price lower, but will it push it even lower, right? Let's look at all the clues, right? So we have a big weekly bearish candle. That tells me price wants to come lower, right? Then if we look at the day chart, we have literally had a fresh structure break, right? If we look at this, right, we have literally just had a break of structure. This last low broke. We've now got lower lows, right? And we are below the moving average 20, right? So daily, I would sell as well. So weekly is telling me to sell, daily is telling me to sell, and my target would be to take it back down to these last lows literally here, right? And just look at these candles, super bearish, right? Also, I really like the H4, right? If we look at the H4, right, we've had, again, we was in here, was at those all-time highs, then bang, 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 right? Bang, 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 technical terms in all the big economic books, right? But we are we are clearly in a H4 downtrend. And I think at a potential nice level through here, right? You can see these lows in here, right? Now, if I get a nice bearish H4 reaction here, I am considering selling gold, right? Back down to these lows, okay? And if you think about it, it's the same trade idea as my US dollar yen trade idea. It's pretty much the same trade, right? But now I'm not one for listening to the noise. And when I say noise, I mean all the macroeconomic, geopolitical, tariffs, this, that, and the other. I try to block all that shit out, right? But it's very difficult to at the moment because, everyone I know is talking about it. I turn on the TV, tariffs. I go down a pub, tariffs. I go play pool, tariffs, right? Everyone's got a view on it, but nobody knows anything about it, right? It's one of them things. Yeah, everyone thinks, oh, this with tariffs and this with tariffs. But if you want the brute, even CNN big time analysts do not have a clue, right? They don't, right? The only people that really have a clue is the American president and his advisors, the Chinese president and his advisors, right? They're the only ones that really know what's going on. And even them, for them, it's a bit of the unknown, right? Trump's chancing his arm. So don't get caught up in all that, which I just have, right? Because it's all bloody noise. But with gold, I struggle to let go of that noise. I would sell this back down to here if we get a bearish H4 candle. But because of all that noise, it has put me off this trade, right? But I would sell it back down to here. Then I'd reassess, right? We know this is a good level. Let's see what it does here. But I would sell that down to there. Now, interestingly, silver has broken correlation, right? I mean, like if you look at gold, if we look at the day chart, right? If we look at yesterday's candle, super bearish, right? If you look at silver's candle, super bullish. We're seeing correlation breaks everywhere as well, right? We're seeing correlations breaks like the indices are dropping, so is gold. That's a correlation break. Oil's been dropping like a stone, yet Canadian dollar is strong. There's another correlation that's breaking. And then precious metals correlations are breaking, right? So silver looks like a buy trade, right? Gold looks like a sell trade. So it's creating a very tricky environment, right? Of course. Yeah, but I think this is a nice sell trade. But let's see. We'll see what happens on the H4. So there you go, Nigel. I hope that helps you with gold. Luigi, hi, Tom, and all in the live stream. Hi, Luigi. How are you? Luigi, we got back from one holiday in Thailand, and we are going to book Italy start of June, and we are going to go to Tuscany. We're going to go from Pisa to Florence and do a little wine tasting tour in between. We may not make it to Florence, depending on the amount of wine that we drink. But that's what we're going to do. Me and the missus and the little one. So there you go, guys. I thought I'd share that with you. Luigi, have you been to Tuscany? Is it beautiful? I hear very good things. Has anyone been to Tuscany? Please let me know. Has anyone been to Florence? Anyone been to Pisa? Yeah, we're going to do that in June. So yeah, but I need my holidays, guys, right? Trading, you got to reap the benefits of trading and have a holiday now and again. That goes for everyone. Right, what other questions have we got, guys? Please don't be shy, guys. Please ask as many questions as you like. Let's take a look at my Euro Canadian dollar sell trade. Okay, so we are getting a bit of resistance at these lows, right? But let's see how this H4 candle finishes. If it finishes like that, nothing to worry about, nothing bullish there. Yeah, I still wait to see if this drops. Let's have a look at US dollar yen, because I still think potentially, as with gold, right? If you remember the gold H4, this is the exact opposite, right? And I want to buy US dollar yen, but it's the same trade, right? They are highly inversely correlated. I still think US dollar yen, right, in here, we get a bullish reaction. I still think this has room up to here, right? Because look at the daily candle, right? That is uber bullish, and we have room to the next area of resistance, right? And that's the same premise as my gold trade idea, right? But it was the opposite. It still had room to the downside. So yeah, keep an eye on US dollar yen and gold. I think there's a potential trade there. I prefer US dollar yen because of the bullishness of this candle and the room that it has, right? Right, what else are we looking at? So stress relief, very aptly named for trading. So how do you remain consistent with simplifying your analysis? Like, how did you phase out all those other complicating thoughts? Yeah, it's a good question, stress relief. So how do I try and block out the noise? Firstly, from years of hearing all the noise, right? So I've been trading for many, many years now, and there's always noise, right? Whether it's some noise coming out of the Fed, whether it's a war in the Middle East, whether it's an oil embargo, whether it's high inflation, the indices are dropping like stones, whatever it is, there is always some noise. There is not 1 month in the market where something fundamentally, macroeconomically, geopolitically, there's not 1 month where something doesn't happen, right? Guaranteed, something will happen. And some things are more drastic than others, right? The tariffs, these are pretty unprecedented, right? These are pretty extreme, right? But they're always going to be there. Now, many years ago, right, I was trying to adopt a lot of fundamental analysis into my trading, right? I was trying to combine technicals with fundamentals. And all I found myself doing with fundamentals was going round in circles. I'm second guessing everything, right? Like the tariffs, I'm thinking, okay, how will China react? And then if China reacts like that, what will Trump do? We've got some noise coming out of President Lagarde from the European Union. What's she saying? How will that impact it? Before you know it, I've got more grey hair, right? And I'm none the wiser because I don't know, right? Yeah, I can't predict what Trump's going to do, what China's going to do. You just can't. You can't second guess these things. So I just said, sod it, right? I'm not focusing on things I cannot control, right? And then just moved towards a very, very technical based trader, right? So from years of second guessing myself, and it was very detrimental to my trading and the impact it had, that helped me prove to myself that it's all noise, right? Now, I'm not saying fundamentals are, there's lots of good fundamental traders and traders that combine fundamentals and technicals. And look, as long as you're making a profit, who cares, right? But for me, it's a lot of noise and a lot of second guessing. So yeah, I just, over the years, I've just blocked it all out. Now, try not to turn on social media, TV, and just focus on what the chart is telling you, right? And then all the truth you need is in the chart. Because for example, right, we know flight to safeties are strong, right? So US dollar yen is in a downtrend, right? We know flight to safeties are strong. So I don't know, let's have a look at Aussie dollar yen. So we know Aussie dollar yen is in a downtrend. So the fundamentals are already there anyway. But technically, if I get a pullback into some value, I'm really interested in selling. Yeah, no noise, just technicals, trade it. Yeah, and that's what I would say. Yeah, just don't tune into it, but it's very easier said than done. Niraj has put, Tom, you like wine a lot, I think. I do like red wine. I cannot stand white wine. And I've had some of my friends go, Tom, this is top white wine. Not that I have a clue what I'm talking about when it comes to wines, but my friend does, right? He's in that business. And he was like, Tom, try this white wine. It is top notch, right? I tried this white wine and I'm like, tastes like crap, tastes like all the others. He was like, give me that glass back. That's sacrilege. Bugger off. All right. But red wine, I love. Yeah. Beautiful. Also beer. Yeah. I'm British. Luigi, Tuscany is beautiful. You will love it. Okay. Very nice. Lee James, I've been to Verona and crashed a rented boat, lost my deposit, so lived on Chris for a week. Lee, that was I would like to have joined you for that. That was my first ever holiday without parents. Italy is beautiful, though. Yeah, I imagine the boat was a little costly mistake. Lee, I love that story. One of the first adaptations to my trading when I discovered your channel was the elimination of market noise. That was a game changer as the trading process became way clearer. Thanks, Tom. Brilliant, Lee. That's great to hear. And it is a lot of noise, right? Just trade what you see on the charts, guys, and you won't go too far wrong. And Lee, I cannot stop thinking about you crashing a boat. Was you drinking wine at the time? I'm thinking yes. I'm thinking definitely. Right, EuroCAD. I want to keep taking a look at this. Okay, this is not a H4 candle I want to see, guys, but we've still got 20 minutes left of this candle, and America is just waking up, right? We can expect a bit of volatility now. Gold, let's take a look at gold because we was looking at that as a potential trade, right? These H4, if we were to sell gold, these H4 candles are not bearish enough yet, right? Was also looking at US dollar yen. I like buys here, in here somewhere. But again, I need a confirmation from a candle, and we just haven't got that yet. Yeah, and that's everything we are looking at. Guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash the notification button, and please smash the like button. Please don't forget to join our Discord channel. We have a beautiful trading community of beautiful traders. Don't know if they're beautiful. They could be. And if you want access to our premium trading education, please go check out our website, www.simply-forex.com. Also, guys, don't forget to check out the promotion we're running with Pepperstone right now. If you swap broker and sign up with Pepperstone, a world-class broker compatible with TradingView, we will give you free access to the VIP Trading Academy, and we will give you a free TradingView Essential subscription. What's not to bloody like? All right, guys. So, yeah, good to be back on the live stream. Good to see you all again, guys. Have a great trading day, and I'll see you same time again tomorrow. Lee, don't drive any boats. See you later.